everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Your Property Journey. Yep, it's been a while, but today I have a very special guest. His name is Mike, and he is our photographer that takes all our amazing photos for our offices. So I'd like to introduce you to Mike.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Mike. So, we're just going to chat to Mike about some information about being a property photographer, some funny stories, some information on anyone that maybe was thinking of becoming a property photographer. So, let's start with question one. Tell us about your journey. How long have you been in the photography industry?
I was fortunate. I actually started in 2010, where I got involved with a real estate agency.
Okay.
And luckily, my job evolved so quickly into not just being on the administration and IT side, but they also started asking me to do some property photography.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so then my job casually kind of grew more into the photography direction, and then I moved over to another big agency, and that side, my job became 70% more real estate photography,
Okay.
and it evolved in such a way that then eventually they decided to kind of centralize all the people that were involved with the marketing and
Oh,
photography.
yes.
And I was presented with the option of driving in all the way to the city center
Oh,
to work that side. And then I decided, you know what, between the traffic from from northern suburbs all the way into city center,
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem worth my while. And I decided to go solo, solely concentrating on the real estate photography side.
okay.
So from 2000 and just before 2015, I went totally solo then,
Yeah.
and I was fortunate because I knew so many people already in the real estate
Yes.
industry. So I managed to build myself up as a solo company quite quickly.
Okay.
And then through the years, then it evolved kind of from being real estate photography into architectural photography, into
Oh.
Airbnb, hospitality sector, and yeah, it just kind of mushroomed from there. But my main niche at the moment will always be the real estate
Okay.
photography.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because at least with that, you get to see different things all the time, different properties. You go to different areas.
Yeah, I think that's the and later when we kind of discuss a bit the path of the real estate photographer, you'll see the real estate photography side is kind of the appointments that occur the most. You know, there's
Okay.
always people that are going to sell a
Correct.
house or want to
Correct.
rent out a house. You know,
Yes.
so you know that's kind of your most recurring kind of opportunity that
Yeah.
always comes up.
Yeah.
When you start looking more at the architects and the designers and all that, I mean, the projects are very
Correct.
interesting, but it's definitely only maybe once in each 4 months they might get you out to come and take
Yeah.
photos.
Yeah, that
So
definitely makes sense.
Yeah, so definitely your most busiest sector is in the real estate
Okay.
photography. Yeah.
But that's interesting and also very cool because you get to look at so many different types of industries, but it's still photos. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah, so you
is
kind
so
of keep with the
amazing.
passion, yeah. And
Yeah.
we're lucky we've got a few real estate photographers that are maybe involved with doing weddings as well, you know, so that
Okay.
I'm unfortunately not a good photographer when it gets to people,
Yeah.
but some have got a
Yeah,
knack
because
to do
furniture
that.
is not moving and not giving you
That's
attitude.
it,
They
much
will sit
safer.
still and let the photos be taken away as people want to tell you, okay, now, but this is my good side, or can we take a photo at the tree? And you're like, no, the tree thing is not going to work. And
Yeah. Yeah, so you'll see some photographers, you know, they might say again, oh, my niche is more actually wedding photography, but I like doing real
yes,
estate.
it's
Others would
definitely more expensive.
That's it. And others
Unnecessarily
might say
so.
sports photography
Oh,
again.
yeah.
And, you know, the real estate kind of helps fill the quieter gap. So, yeah, so it's quite a flexible industry to be in. You
Yes,
know, you
yes,
have
yes.
to make sure that you find your niche
Correct.
and kind of stick with that. But always when things do get quieter, you know, there are
Got other
opportunities to fill
options.
those gaps. Yeah.
Correct, yeah. But I guess with property, it's like, it's just one of those things that will always be needed.
Yeah, I think depending on how you work with the different agencies. Some agencies might get you in just to do rental properties. I think, like the rental side is always a very busy side.
Yes, true.
Other agents might get you in more to do their luxury houses and that. So then it might be a bit more
not as
spaced,
often.
So yeah, so you will see once you get into the photography arena, kind of which niches you want to target the most. But there's always, as you say, it's always busy.
Yeah.
It's the real estate market never ends.
Correct. So my next question was, how long have you been a real estate photographer? You've answered that question, but I actually wanted to ask now, based on your previous answer. So was photography like just a hobby before you started it? How did you end up in that?
I'm quite sad that the photography bug didn't bite me much earlier.
Okay.
And I think they are, and you see it especially with the younger generations that are so used to having a cell phone and they can quickly do a selfie or a video.
Yeah.
I think they much more better orientated to kind of go into a photography direction or videography direction. So unfortunately for me, I grew up in a household where photography was not an issue at all. And literally when I started in the real estate industry was the first time that I really started thinking about photography. Although just before I did real estate photography, I worked for a company that did light sports aircraft building in South Africa.
Yeah.
And as we did a few trips around the world with some of the planes that we had built,
that's really interesting.
That's a whole other
episode.
So I got involved with through our two directors were fantastic photographers just in their own right. And kind of there we got a bit more intrigued with what they were doing, how they were taking their photos and all that. So kind of I got bitten a bit by photography, but I didn't really pursue it. But then now, luckily, when I started with a real estate agency, then I kind of got forced into it and I realized, geez, I really enjoy this. So, yeah.
So then it makes me think then that was your path.
Yeah, actually, I think I've been fortunate each time I changed direction. I really did a big change. But you realize that
bringing you back.
That's
wow. That's very cool. That is very cool. Okay, so next question. What are your top 5 tips to sellers to showcase their home?
Yeah, I must say that selling your house is very stressful. I mean, you've seen now people are really concerned. I think that's the first time that you start realizing, okay, this is it now. This is kind of a path of no return now.
Correct.
So people get very stressed when we say, okay, we want to come and do the photos and all that. Correct. And it just feels like a huge mountain ahead of you.
Yeah.
But actually, if you realize you've now made that decision, you want to move on. So this house now needs to become kind of as enticing as possible for the potential buyers that are going to walk through the door. So I would always suggest that if an agent says, okay, we're going to now finalize the photo shoot, just hear from that real estate agent, the photographer that is going to come in, do they perhaps have a checklist? Because some photographers do have a checklist, some checklists are really short, others are a bit more extensive like mine.
Yes.
And then unfortunately, I think a few people have to drink a bottle of wine first before they
like a
see
little
my
novel,
list.
Yes.
But, we've got that list.
But it's based on experience, I guess.
Yeah,
over the years.
It. I think over the years, you've kind of seen the things that kind of make your photos just stand out a bit better. So you try and keep the list as general as possible, but you need to touch all the possibilities. If somebody's house has got a jacuzzi in, is the cover off, things like that.
Yes.
So I would say definitely the first step is just hear from the real estate agent. Do they have a checklist? If they do, the estate agent will quickly send it, or the photographer might send it directly to you. And then there's kind of basics, but it's basic, but it's big
basic
things.
For you, not basic for someone else. It is not, maybe hasn't been living in the house for 30, 40 years. Now they need to completely think, okay, where am I going to be putting all of these boxes and stuff? And
so I think, and that's what kind of puts people back the most, is that suddenly this mountain now feels like it's the Himalayas.
Yes.
I mean, you just got so much that you have to do, and your luck, you might move a chair and realize, but now there's suddenly paint off from the wall that you didn't even know about. So suddenly then it just becomes much bigger. But I would say the first thing that you really need to look at is for a photo shoot, especially, the house has to be painfully prim and proper, unfortunately. And for everybody that has got kids and pets, we know that there's no way that you can keep a house 100% in order. But for the photo shoot, unfortunately, it has to be really extremely tidy, especially that it looks nearly to the extent that you hardly have any kids or pets in the house nearly, unfortunately.
Yes, for sure.
But it's just amazing how tidy rooms just help the selling process so much more. Then the second tip I would give is really look at each room and just see, are there any extra furniture that you don't really need in the room? And the reason why that's a good thing to look at, because on a photo, to have more floor space on a photo, it just really helps. And I'm kind of not going the route of, but let's get the photographer then that makes your 2 by 3 meter room look like a 6 by 7
Yeah, we don't want that as well.
Yeah, we don't want that either, because the buyers are going to walk in and see it in the first room and think, oh, hell, please.
The room looked so big in the photos and now it's so tiny.
Yeah, so I think that the second thing is just go through each room, just see all the extra, like in the dining room especially, we see it, you've got 4 chairs maybe on the side of the wall. You don't need those 4 chairs there. What I would then say is, sometimes all of us are not lucky that we've got that storage room, or that we've got maybe 2 garages and we can use one for storage. So in that case, go see what is your smallest room in your house, because the photographer, like if you've got 4 bedrooms and an office, maybe your office is your smallest space, then use that office rather as storage space.
No, we just won't use that,
That's it. And the clients, when they walk in, they'll understand, maybe, the agent might say, listen, they're already starting to pack, so this is a bit more of a storage 100%. Room, so just pardon that. And people are much 100%. More open to that. So I would say, look then, what is your smallest room, and rather, or if you've got garage or storage space, just store those things in there. And if you even want to make your life more easier, even, is you can put color tags on your furniture to say one color is I want to sell it, one color is I want to give it to family, one color is I want to take it with, so that helps.
Yeah, actually you're using the opportunity to declutter as well.
That's it,
because you're going to be moving, and in a lot of cases people are downsizing. So you would actually just use the time to just get rid of the stuff that you don't actually need anymore.
Yeah, so I think that already, if you can start doing that, and extra things in the rooms that you want to pack in a box already, because you're going to have to pack it eventually.
Anyway,
So if you can, all the extra clutter stuff, and that kind of ties in then with the next point, is that especially when we get to counter space and space in the rooms, people tend to, or most of the buyers, when they walk in, they tend to look at the clutter. So if you can really declutter and have at least 2/3 of your counter space open, which in a normal function family, 2/3 open counter space
that's a lot.
That's a big thing to ask. So I know for that selling process, unfortunately, everybody just have to bite the bullet a bit. But it just helps tremendously, because we've seen, especially with the guys that have got a lot of time to measure website interaction and people liking certain photos, is that people, as soon as they feel that there's a lot of stuff lying around, their brain automatically says, oh, but there's not enough storage space.
Yes.
And we've seen it where you literally have photos where there's a 10-door cupboard right behind the bed, and people might still have the impression that there's too little space because the makeup is like all over the place. So that is interesting how the psyche sometimes of the buyers work.
And it's true, because some people struggle when they come and view a house and it's empty. They can't visualize stuff in the house. And then you'll also get clients that are the opposite, that they actually don't like it when there's too much stuff in the house, and they also can't visualize their own selves in the space. So
That's
it's
it.
very difficult to try and get that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the guys that are lucky that can walk into place and just visualize are the
Yeah.
guys that most likely have already done it before and rebuilt a house and reshaped it. So I think for them, they can kind of look past the furniture and whatever
Yeah.
and just visualize.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, even for me as a photographer, I'm a bad buyer because I'll walk into a house and just see the clutter first, and then I try and look at the walls.
Okay.
So yeah,
Understood.
so I think
Yeah.
you have to be careful with those things.
Yeah.
Just make sure that you declutter as much. And it's difficult, you like having the family photos against the wall, but if there are walls that you can kind of just declutter a bit, pack it away already in boxes, then rather do that because the more open your place looks visually, just the more easier it is for people to kind of imagine their furniture in your space.
Okay.
So that's a big job. I think you'll probably want 2 bottles of wine after that.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah. I would say the next step, which is quite a weird one, but it is look at the lighting in your house. And the lighting in your house...
definitely agree with the lighting thing.
Yeah, and it's not just for the photo process because it helps the agents as well when the buyers walk through.
Yeah.
Because that's another problem again when buyers walk through. If lights are not working, instinctively they think first, okay, it's the electrical problems.
Yeah.
So you don't want people to kind of question things, or unfortunately we've seen as well, maybe a plug cover's fallen off, just put the plug cover back, It's amazing how quick people are nervous.
People are
that something
looking
is
for
hidden.
something that they are nitpicking basically when
That's
they're looking.
it, yeah.
And I mean, I think it's normal. Nobody wants to buy a house that has all the issues and stuff that
That's
now
it.
I want to move into a house that is pretty much fixed up. I don't have to, unless of course you're buying a fix up, but that's completely different. But
Yeah.
mostly when you're upgrading, you want to upgrade the house, the space that you're going to live in. So you don't want issues like with plugs and stuff like that, especially if you have a husband that's not a fixer guy and you're like, oh gosh, no, we're not doing that.
That's it. Yeah. So I would say, lighting is actually very crucial. Some photographers actually do like putting the lights off. And others like to put the lights on, which is quite an interesting debate that's been going on for years. Is it good to have the lights on or off? But if you're going to have the lights on, if all your lights are at least the same tone, so whether they cool lights or whether they warm lights, you prefer to have them look the same.
Okay.
But also make sure the biggest thing is, are your lights working everywhere?
Yeah.
Are lights working on a table lamp? Just those things help create that cozy effect maybe on some photos.
Yeah.
And it just kind of helps the agent to put the buyers at ease when they walk through a property. And I mean, the agents do have the list that they'll go through with the buyers saying, listen, these are the potential snags. But it's amazing how if people are more calm kind of walking through a house, it's just so much easier to let them see the potential in a house.
Yeah.
100%. So work on your lighting.
Definitely agree with that, especially when it's winter.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have lighting issues and now the time is now almost 5:30, you can really see the lighting is already, especially if it's a dark and gloomy day. If you are going to be viewing a house and it's looking dark and gloomy, doesn't matter how it looks, it's just like it puts people off.
It does. Yeah, it does. So definitely I know some days might feel like you just don't have time to go through all those things, but it's just amazing how much it helps the agents when it gets to the selling stages. Yeah, so please have a look. Funny enough, one thing that I just thought of, where we were saying please declutter your bulky furniture and all that as well. It's funny enough, another thing that you can look at too is just if you've got a patio where there's nothing on the patio, if you've got an extra little table somewhere with a chair, just do it in a corner with a little book
Yeah.
on the table,
Make it look
whatever.
interesting.
Yeah, just make it look like a usable space that
Yeah.
somebody in the family is using that space. So I know sometimes it's difficult, especially when the weather is not our friend.
Correct.
But the days that you can, if you can stage a little dead corner and put a plant and a book next to a table, it's amazing just how that kind of helps as well.
Correct.
Because people can see that you're using all the little spots.
And also
in your
gives
yard.
them ideas of what to do.
Yeah, that's so, and then kind of comes to my last point is just, I know when people say stage your house, it sounds so funny.
So dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, you expect that if your house is going to appear in some magazine or whatever.
Correct.
But it's amazing, sometimes you've got like a braai room that you maybe want to just stage and look like you're going to entertain friends soon.
Okay.
Or for the photos, you might put on the fireplace, which is fantastic. And you might have a bottle of wine maybe close to it, So with real estate agents or real estate photographers, we tend to take more wider photos, but we do come in closer to take some detailed photos as well.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And that kind of just helps, and it also kind of helps with the when the buyers walk through,
like
they can see you enjoy your house.
Yes.
So so those are sound like silly things, but at the end of the day, it actually helps the agents and just kind of twisting the buyer's arms a bit better as well.
Yeah. Giving you ideas, buyers' ideas of how the space can be used definitely is, and creating that ambience. Yeah.
If you're not sure about a room, always ask the agent, because the agents have been in so many houses, they've sold so many places that they kind of, if they walk in, they'd say, you know what, your sofas, for instance, kind of feels like it's blocking the flow. Be open to the agent suggesting, let's maybe move your furniture around a bit and just create that flow through your room. Because that's interesting. Those are things that people, if they walk out of a house and they have to think back about a house. Those are unfortunately things they might remember first. Is the sofa was in front of us when we walked through the front door. So always, if you're not sure, just anytime ask the agent, and the agent can also say, listen, okay, let's do this and this, and we're ready for the photos.
Yes, definitely. Listen to us. We do know a little bit of stuff. Yeah. Thank you.